evening and welcome to Sweet Blessings, the Anna L. Brothers Show and Podcast, where we inspire, encourage, and empower you to live a healthier lifestyle. The purpose of this podcast or show is to bring you ordinary life experiences with knowledge and workshops and speakers who can shed light on our everyday spirituality. So it's a family program, a program for everyone, and it talks about the well being. So, from time to time, I do have speakers on. And so we have a very special guest this evening that I'm going to bring on. But before I do that, there is a few little things that I do want you to realize is that also you can support me by sending stars because stars help me earn money to make content. And this is on my Facebook page as well. So I would like for you to keep that in mind. And also, I want you to also be aware of my Facebook page. So this is my Facebook page. And there you can go, you can reach me if you want to be on my program or you want to be a sponsor. Also, if you're interested in my social media kit where it kind of explains everything, you can also email me at this email here. Hold on, let me get to it. So you can email me. This is my email. So if you have any type of like questions or, what's it all about or anything like that, you can always email me at that. I'm also on Facebook. I'm also on Instagram. I have platforms on there as well. But I would love for you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which I have listed here at the bottom. And also, I do take donations. My social media kit kind of explains that as well. But I do also take donations as well. So, anyway, if you're interested in that. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read the bio of my guest. Her name is Vera Thomas, and she is also a life coach. She's a speaker, she's a trainer, a mediator, and a poet, 22-time best-selling author, producer of a weekly podcast radio show, The Vera Thomas Show. And if you were lucky, you got to see me on it last night. I really enjoyed myself. She has worked with individual companies, nonprofit organizations, schools, and churches engaging youth and adults, developing, designing, and developing soft skill training and leadership programs. Being a poet, she developed an after school program allowing students to express through poetry, short stories, song, or rap. Taught presentation skills and vision boards. Other programs for youth include an all school assembly, I Believe in Me, Using My Power, an anti-bullying program, and My Greatness is designed to increase self-esteem and confidence. Instilling greatness in myself and my children. Parents examine attitudes and behavior that impact on their children in life. Vera is available for companies who want to transfer their teams or families who want to transform their lives. So we're going to break now for a brief uh, commercial. And when we come back, we will have Vera on uh, with us.
The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. The Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it. 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 On the Vera Thomas Show. Let's talk about it. Yeah.
All righty. Hello, hello. How are you? Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Hi, thank you. And I was getting ready to say hello, hello, hello.
So welcome so much. Thank you so much for being my guest on this evening. And
Well,
so,
thank you for having me. I'm so honored to be here with you tonight.
well, I'm gonna ask you a few questions, and so just the first one I want to ask is because I want my audience to get to know you a little bit better. So I want you to tell me just a little bit, about yourself and kind of how you got started in doing your all of your entities.
Okay. All right. Well, I grew up not really having a lot of confidence or self esteem and was bullied and often told things like, you're stupid, you're dumb, you're fat, you're ugly, you're nothing, you'll never be anything. And in so doing, I had no confidence. I had no self esteem. And I would often ask God, what is my purpose? Why was I born? Because I wanted to know. And just struggling to learn who I was and whose I was. And I was introduced to a book called The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol. And in reading that book, it began to tell me to act like I had confidence, fake it till you make it, kind of, sort of like, I know everybody's heard that before. So I would fall asleep at night saying, I'm confident, I'm confident, I'm confident, until I began to feel confident. And then it talks about stepping outside your comfort zone and doing things that you are not comfortable doing to gain that confidence. So everything this book talked about, I tried to do. I then also recognized that I don't want any child to ever feel like I felt when I heard those things growing up. But I didn't know what vehicle would provide me with the opportunity to help lift children and their parents. I got involved with doing workshops and training programs in the school systems. And I developed these 4 programs that Anna already mentioned to you. And the very first one was a pilot program called Poetry and My Vision, which enabled kids to begin to write their thoughts and their feelings and express how they felt about things that was going on in their lives and in our society. And then I would teach them presentation skills, and they would do these poems either as a song, a rap, a poem, or even short stories. They could work together in groups or they could work individually. And some of the things that came out was amazing. The program was an 8-week program. So I had these kids for 8 weeks. Oftentimes they come back and talk about their experiences in the home. And while I'm trying to build confidence and self esteem in them, some of them were going home to parents that were not doing the same, which is what made me develop my program, instilling greatness in myself and my children. When you consider the second cause of death for 10-year-olds to 34-year-olds is suicide, parents have got to be more engaged in their children's lives and being able to understand and recognize the baggage and the unresolved issues that we oftentimes bring into parenting, I included, it can impact on our children. But one thing's for sure, when we know better, we do better. And so my intent is to help parents look at some of the things that they've grown up with that may have impacted their lives and how it's impacting on their kids, and to look at, okay, so how do I reverse that? How do I change that? So that's basically how did I get into this. I had gone to a 3-day seminar, and the facilitator was so enthusiastic. She was so bubbly. And this was during the time that I was struggling and saying, what is my purpose? Why was I born? And she resonated with me, I felt something as she was doing this 3-day seminar. And I remember going up to her and saying, I want to do what you do. She became my mentor. And that's what really got me on my path to do what I've been doing now for over 40 years.
Oh my God, that is wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Um, you touched on a couple of things that are very important to me because I believe that everyone needs to be mentored. Okay, because mentoring to me is a way of passing the gift on to
Yes.
someone else. And so in my life, I've been mentored many, many times, and I'm a mentor now for daycares. I help them get their accreditation as well. And then the other thing that you touched on was the poet. You know, getting children to express their feelings. And I know you said that parents need to be more aware of what's happening in their children's life. But sometimes, they can be aware and still be oblivious of what, what is actually on that child's mind because, sometimes they just, for real, you just don't know. You just don't know.
I know, and a lot of times it depends on our parenting styles that determines whether or not a child is going to be open enough and comfortable enough sharing with parents exactly what's on their mind and exactly what's going on. Because oftentimes children will go to parents telling and expressing how they feel, and the parent may blow them off, oh, I don't need to hear that, or not listen, or criticize, or condemn, or condone, or belittle, and so, or yell at.
Yeah,
And when kids experience that kind of stuff, they don't want to talk to their parent. They'd
right.
rather go talk to somebody else.
That's what I said. There's a lot of factors, that play into that as well.
There
Uh,
are.
I think so. But I agree with you 100%. We need to, as a former teacher, we need to inform our parents. Okay, and I feel like that's our gift. If what I'm saying is to let them know what they should be doing. Now we can't do it for them, but we can
No.
at least share that knowledge
Yes.
with them, and it's up to them
Right.
to
And let's face it, none of us are perfect parents.
know.
And
There
so
is
I
no
can
book on
there
parenting.
no there isn't. However, there are a couple that are coming out, one of which I might say is this one. Parenting, raising children is not easy, but it's worth it. There are a lot of tools and resources and guidelines in this book. I just so happen to have it beside me. And I'm one of the co authors for this book. And if you want the book, you can actually go to the link that will be scrolling.
Hold on, I,
You,
I got you.
and you will see another link where you can purchase this book.
So
So for parents, there are tools and resources out there. I have co-authored 3 parenting books. And I know that all three of them definitely provide resources and tools and things that parents can glean from. And much of it comes from as parents ourselves. I mean, there are experts in these books. You know, I consider myself an expert where parenting is concerned, but
Mhm.
not basically because of my own experience and the things that I had to do to ensure that my son was a positive, very positive, confident young man, even as a single mom.
Mhm. Okay, well, we're going to take a slight little break now for another commercial, and then we'll be back and I'll ask you another question.
Okay.
Okay, hold
Go. I want to flex my love. I want to impress. And I want to carry my love away.
on.
I love it. I love it.
Well, thank you.
Yes.
Uh, so we talked about the poet and you're being an author, and but I did a series on coach, different types of coaching, and I've had a transformational coach on my program, and so now I have a life coach on my program. And so I want you to tell the audience what is involved in being a life coach as opposed to a transformational coach.
In my opinion, a life coach is, I think, is a transformational coach in that you're looking at areas in a person's life. And in my case, I can explore and help people explore areas in their lives from relationships, personal development, career development, and all of those things because I've got experience in those areas and being able to help them identify some areas that they need to focus on to, in fact, transform them. And some of those things, life coaching can also include EI, emotional intelligence, and helping people ascertain their levels of maturity where emotional intelligence is concerned. I have assessments and tools to help with that. Being positive, I have tools to help them with that, and giving them exercises to enable them to practice these things. The work is applied. It's not where I'm just sitting back and talking to them and saying, I actually give exercises and homework for people to do to transform their lives through life coaching, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it
And I
does.
also and I also work with kids to help build their confidence and their self-esteem. And I do that in groups, but I also work with kids on an individual base as well, just as I work with parents on an individual base or families together and
Mhm.
helping them to identify areas within their family structure that could be improved and
Okay.
giving them steps and tools to help them do that.
Okay. So to me, transformational coach to me is a part of life coach, because I think that she kind of explained it where you're working more so with the mindset with transformational coaching, and with life coaching you're working with the mindset also, but you're looking at the other aspects
Yes,
of,
all
of, of the
areas.
life, all the areas,
Yes,
just like my podcast, where we try to look at the whole being
yes,
of the
absolutely,
individual.
absolutely.
And so it's a good thing, but I was shocked to find out there is so many different types of coaching.
Yes, there are. There are. And you've got the career development coach, which I was for over 10 years. You've got, outplacement coach, which
A
I also
basketball
was.
coach, football
Yeah,
coach.
yes. So I mean, there are physical fitness coach,
Oh, that's
you
right.
know, and a coach, to define a coach, is basically someone that's going to help facilitate
That's
and guide you,
yeah.
not tell you what to do, but give you guidance
Right,
in
right.
getting to where you want to go.
So that was the name of my podcast. Which coach? Which coach should I choose? Because it's just so many.
Yeah,
So,
that's true.
I found out that sometimes, when you're doing your research, I'm a star, of what is, happening and those type of things. But yes, that was interesting. So let me ask you this. This is my next question.
Okay.
How did you get into podcasting?
That's a very interesting question. My mother was the first African American woman to have her own radio show back in the 70s. When my mother died of cancer at the age of 43. But when she got sick, she pulled me in and taught me the ropes of being a gospel DJ,
Okay.
and which is very much like podcasting. There were some intricacies involved being in a radio station where there were certain things you had to know and stuff. And she taught me those things. And she also taught me how to speak and all those kinds of things and to be as personable as you could be. My mother was awesome. She was awesome. And so and I have to say, I lost that show because of politics. I had a commercial, and you tell me what you would do. I had a commercial. This man paid me to air his commercial at a time when other people would hear it. The owner of the station was supporting the opposing politician. So when I come in to do my commercial, I see where they've changed the time to to the time where nobody would hear it. Nobody would hear it. And this man has paid me money. He's paid me and was very specific on the time that I should air it. So what did I do? I aired it at the time that I committed to airing it. As a result, I lost the show because of politics. So actually, me being able to do this again, it's like being able to rectify things that happened way back then, many years ago. I was really young. I was in my late teens, early 20s.
Hmm.
And so now I can, and I do my show, and I often think of my mom as I'm even doing my show. So that's what got me started. And then an opportunity came where someone had said, "Well, Vera, do you want to do this?" I was like, "Yes, let me try it again." And
Hmm.
then I got involved with CTR Media, and that just propelled and took us to a whole nother level. And I'm kind of like on my own right now, but I plan to come back to CTR Media Network. Um, but anyway, that's my story and how I got involved in podcasting and radio shows. And I also worked at a television station and had an opportunity to do some on camera work at that time as well.
Hmm.
So,
Okay. That's interesting. Yeah, there's some similarities there.
yeah, we have a lot of things in
I
common. We
know,
do.
I know. So I noticed also that you speak. Um,
Yes.
when you go to do your speaking, is there a specific subject that you speak on,
My,
or does your audience give you something that they want, that they know that you're specialized? What do you give us a
it's a
little?
combination. my area that I really my whole purpose. We all have a purpose in life. My purpose is to uplift, encourage, motivate, inspire, and educate. So my presentations are designed to do that. I have presentations prepared for taught for parents. I have several presentations prepared for parents. One is looking at misconceived behaviors that identify these behaviors that have we've been living in ourselves that are impacting on our kids. Another is parenting styles and talking about the various parenting styles. And I have one where we totally strip a little girl. We talk about her experience from the time she wakes up in the morning until she goes to bed at night, and how the things that happen to her cause her to just disappear. And then when she comes back, you got all these scars. And from people not recognizing the impact that they're having on children by the words that they say or the things that they do. So this little girl has all these scars. It's powerful stuff. I also talk about at one point I was working with senior citizens, and I was involved with the Southern Baptist Convention in Kentucky, and I traveled all over Kentucky doing trainings for senior citizens. And that program is called "Are You Green and Growing or Ripe and Rotten?" And the other one was "My Amazing Race, God's Amazing Grace." And so I did that throughout the state of Kentucky on in these conventions. And it was interesting because most of this Southern Baptist, so that meant most of the churches were white churches, and I'm going in and doing these things with them. And I've also done women speeches, kids, colleges. I can relate to 4 year olds to 99 year olds. I really can, and so I speak to all levels, all groups.
Okay, that's great. All right, we're going to take another brief moment for a commercial, and then I'm going to come back and ask you a few more questions. Okay.
Okay.
CTR Media Network is now accepting new podcasters to join our growing network that's reaching 350 million global listeners. Have you heard? CTR Media Network offers podcast production, podcast training, distribution, and product placement. Book us for your next event or schedule an interview with CTR Media Network podcasters today. To learn more, go to ctrmedianetwork.com.
Well,
Dad here.
we are back. I hope everyone saw that famous face in that commercial.
Yes.
So
I love CTR Media Network.
I
I
know
really,
it.
really
That
do.
we
I
are
love them.
we are truly a family
Yes.
and so forth. Now, also, I noticed that you work with all kind of different types of organizations. Okay, uh, as well as individuals. So you do individuals, you do companies, nonprofit, organizations, school, churches, and you work with all different, like you said, from ages 4 to 99. So I know that there's different types of programs or different types of things or strategies that you use for some of these programs. So I know it's something different from a nonprofit than it is. So can you give us some little examples of that?
Yes, I sure can. Like, for example, the trainings that I've done, now this is beyond going in and speaking.
Hmm.
The trainings that I've done with companies and organizations is helping them to look at their most valuable resource, which are their employees, and the kind of relationship that management has with their employees. And so my programs are customized. I don't have any set type of program. I go in, I assess what the
Mhm.
needs are by doing confidential surveys with the employees and also with management. And then I pull together a training based on the information that I got from both sides. Now, where nonprofit organizations are concerned, looking at their culture, and also not only with nonprofits, but organizations as a whole, looking at their culture, and what impact does the culture have on their employees, and then looking at their values, their mission, and all of those kinds of things. Those are things. My master's is in organizational management, and so my focus in that area is being able to identify the areas of weaknesses and strengths and opportunities and threats within companies that's impacting on their productivity and also upon the performance of their staff and their teams. And I do a lot of team building things as well.
Okay,
And
now,
with churches, I've done leadership retreats and things of that nature.
okay. Well, I was gonna ask you, where are you located?
I am currently in Marietta, Georgia.
Okay,
I was born in South Carolina, but I never lived there. I was raised in Ohio, but I've lived in California, Kentucky, and now I'm here.
okay. Now, my next question is, do you travel to speak?
I will. I'll travel. As a matter of fact, one of my goals and desires is to be able to do some international travel because, as an international speaker, that's basically been as a result of COVID and doing Zooms and speaking to people from all over the world. That's what has made me an international speaker. But my desire, and if anybody's out there and you want a speaker and you want me, I'll come. I will come. As a matter of fact, I did a Zoom with some parents at a school. It was in San Jose, but I did it as a Zoom. But now they do want me to come and do like do many of my programs with their kids as well as with the school as well as with their parents.
That's good. And so they will contact you at that.
And they'll send me there.
Okay, but
Yes.
people can contact you with the bit that's going across the screen, right?
Yes, they can contact me to speak, to be a part of to if they want to have an individual conference with me to kind of talk about how I might be able to help them and or their organization. If they're interested in being on my show, if they want to connect with me on social media, do all of that through this link here, bit.ly/Vera Thomas.
Okay. Well, we're gonna break one more time,
Okay.
maybe twice,
Okay.
and then I'm gonna come back and I'm gonna ask you, maybe one final question or something you might want to uh, leave us with.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Here we go.
Yes.
All righty.
Thank you.
You're so
Appreciate
welcome.
that.
You are so,
Yes.
so welcome. Um, you know, um, it's been interesting, but I want you to let us know just a little bit about how you would want us to instill greatness in ourselves.
Oh, that is so awesome.
That
Well,
is the first question, and then
okay.
then I'm gonna ask you that other question. Okay,
Okay. All right.
go ahead.
Well, what I want to say to you, in order to still instill greatness in yourself, I'm thinking of a poem that is actually a signature poem that I use with kids and also I share with adults. And it's a video on my YouTube channel where kids are actually acting this poem out. But let me share it with you.
Okay.
When you give all to accomplish a task, there's no need to ask. That's your greatness. When you allow creativity to flow, everyone will know that's your greatness. When you share and give of yourself till little is left, that's your greatness. Your greatness need not compare with anyone, anywhere. There's no need to compete with others you chance to meet. Your greatness, your greatness is unique. It makes your life complete. Just be yourself and do your best. Always, always do your best. That greatness, your greatness will stand the test. So many times we compare ourselves to other people, and every single time we do, we always fall short. So only compare yourself with yourself in terms of, am I doing my best? Am I giving my best? Am I proud of who I am? And if I am not proud of I am, how do I get to love myself? How do I love myself? One of the ways that we can love ourselves is by talking to ourselves, the self talk. I have these words up on my wall because what we say to ourselves is so important.
Very.
It doesn't matter what other people say or how other people feel. Eleanor Roosevelt, she once said, no one can make you feel inferior without your permission. We allow people to kick our cat and dump on us. We allow that. We don't have to. When we recognize who we are and whose we are, remember, you are wonderfully and fearfully made, fearfully and wonderfully made. You were designed with purpose. So recognizing what your purpose is so important.
Very.
Speak to yourself. Tell yourself how great you are. Like I said earlier, I would fall asleep at night saying, I'm confident, I'm confident, I'm confident. Fall asleep at night saying that. Nowadays, you can actually listen to affirmations all night long on YouTube.
Yes, you can. Yes, you
All night long. Whatever you're wanting to improve upon, you can turn it on YouTube and listen to it all night. I listen to this stuff all the time
I do.
myself.
I do an affirmation every morning, on my Facebook page. Yeah, because people need it. I need it. Okay, so
Yes, absolutely.
I I need it as well. So my last question is, what would you like to leave us with this evening?
I think I just did. But what I want to say, I just want people to recognize the power that you have within you. Don't allow other people to take your power away from you. Don't allow other people to dictate who you are or how you should be. Recognize who you are, whose you are, and what you have inside of you. Even if you have to speak it out loud, and when you hear negative thoughts coming into your mind, you can very well say, I cancel that. That's not right. And if you hear yourself saying, I can't, change it to I can do all things through Christ, which strengthens me. To show you how powerful our words are, right now, we could sit here with our hands at our heads and our eyes closed. And if we were to begin to say, I have a headache, guess what?
You
Guess
gonna
what?
get a headache.
You're going to get a headache. That's how powerful our words are. And if you think I'm lying, if you want a headache, do it.
No, you're not lying. You're not lying. I'm going to tell you a story, okay? I went to the doctor once. And so when I got there, they took my blood pressure. And so he said, is your head hurting? I said, no, my head's not hurting. So he went on and did whatever he had to do. A few minutes later, he said, is your head hurting? I said, no, my head is not hurting. So he went on and did a few more little things, and then he came back. He said, your head's not hurting? I said, no, my head is not hurting. But if you keep asking me about my head, it's gonna start to hurt. But right now it's not hurting. But my pressure was up. And he was asking me that, but it was not phasing me in the least. Okay. But when I got ready to leave, I said, my head is hurting. So I believe he talked that. Okay, he
I'm
talked that
telling you,
into me.
I'm telling you,
Oh Lord.
and
So that subconscious mind, you know
I'm
what I'm
telling
saying?
you, that's how powerful our minds are.
Yes,
That's how, I'm telling you, we speak life. As a matter of fact, scripture says life and death is in the power of the tongue.
that's right. I truly believe that as well. But I want you to stick around. I go through a little, little thing at the end, but
Okay.
I want to thank you for coming on. I really enjoyed this, and I'm sure my audience did as well.
Well, thank you. I enjoyed being here, and I do hope that I've said something that has encouraged or uplift or inspired. Don't let anything, please, please, I can't impress upon you enough. Don't let anything or anybody keep you from who you are, keep you from who God intends you to be.
Okay, so before we leave this evening, I do want to thank my audience for tuning in, and I hope that this broadcast has inspired you in some kind of way. I hope that it has encouraged you in some kind of way, and I also hope that it has empowered you to live a healthier lifestyle. So, with that being said, I am going to leave you with my 3 L's. Everyone probably knows my 3 L's, which is the first one is to live, because to me, life is important, it's short. And so you need to fulfill your needs in life. That's very, very important. And then the second thing is to laugh. It's important to laugh. Everyone needs to laugh. Everyone needs to laugh. Laughter is good for you. It's good for your soul. It makes you feel better. It's just one of those things. But don't forget to laugh about yourself. You can laugh at others and laugh at little situations, but you do things too, so you got to laugh at yourself. And then that last one is to love. And that's the hardest one to do, is to love, because we all know that there are people out here who make it difficult for you to love. But my grandmother told me, baby, you can love, but you must love with a long wooden spoon. And so you keep that in mind when you have to love, but also remember to love yourself, because self
Amen.
love is the most important love. So I'm going to ask Vera to stick around as I close out this evening's program.
Thank you. And thank you again for having me. And God bless you. Continue success with all the things that you are doing.
Well, thank you. Thank you so, so, so much. I appreciate it so much. Thank you.